This video is about, actually not very much about my own work. It's about changing yourself and transforming like a little fat butterfly and fluttering into the fucking world. In this case, the video is about Heywood, who's behind the camera, or rather about Heywoods tattoos, of which I have done rather few or little work on, but I've had the opportunity to have quite a lot of impact. See, in my experience, when I meet people who has tattoos, a lot of them just has a lot of tattoos and no direction, no path to make it into like a consistent piece, to build a bodysuit or make their sleeve into a proper sleeve and not just like a mosaic of tattoos. And Heywood was one such person. I find a lot of joy in guiding people a little bit, not necessarily doing the work, but enlightening them as to the options of creating some uniformity in their tattoo projects. Heywood ended up in my studio to get his hand tattooed by a guest artist named Kako, who did the back of his hand. And then we somehow hired him to work for us. And eventually he just ended up doing all social media and PR. And then eventually he drifted off because he was moving himself to these horrible islands called Britain. And then we reconnected when I moved over here and I gave him a new job. And now, strangely enough, he does social media for me again. As he's filming this right now, should be evidence enough. In that time span, which is by now several years, Heywood has gotten a lot more tattooed. And a lot more consistently tattooed too, as well, I might add. He already had like a heavily tattooed arm. He was familiar with blackwork and stuff like that. But there wasn't much that deterred him when I presented ideas. But where we started doing things, where I started having influence on his bodysuit, in my memory at least, which is a foggy, weird world, was when we had another guest artist, Eddie Rise. Him and his wonderful partner came to visit us in Spain and spent a lot of time in my house up in the mountains, and he needed someone to do terrible things to start working with colored geometry, colorful geometry, which was what I really encouraged him to do. Heywood was up for being the canvas. I just need a sip of it. So I designed this ridiculously sized mandala for it to be centered on the side of Heywood's neck, and then like explode over his chest and do a lot of things that I then made Eddie tattoo on him. And much fun was had, much pain was given, much nipple was tattooed.
Don't breathe, die.
It was interesting days for sure, and somewhere in the process was actually where I realized that Heywood is a real human being, because we got into a small altercation because I kept insulting his old shitty tattoos, which I wasn't allowed to do apparently. Logically, people don't like having their choices put down. I didn't think much of this because Heywood was in the process of covering several of them up and talking about how to cover other of these masterful art pieces up with other ink. So to me, it was logical to just call them shitty tattoos or whatever the fuck I was doing. To Heywood, that was me putting down his decisions, which in hindsight I can easily see is a shitty thing of me to do. And he called me out on it and did it very bluntly, and that really worked for me because I like when people are blunt and straightforward. And that was basically the foundations for our friendship, which is ridiculous, but fuck it. He got tortured by Eddie, got a lot of tattooing done. Then he got, we started like a blast over thing on his left arm with my friend Marlo, who is by now a very accomplished tattoo artist who I believe lives somewhere in Texas by now. A project that I've kind of taken over a little bit because COVID lockdown happened, and then Marlo got pregnant, and now she has a child, and travel and stuff like that is difficult, so I'm just trying to make Heywood look like a whole human being and not a patchwork of blackwork. Patchwork of Blackwork. That should be the title of this video. Heywood had his entire back tattooed by Pierluigi Cretella, who is a wonderful Italian gentleman. One of the calmest people I've ever worked next to. He worked for me when I had Meat Shop Tattoo in Barcelona, and was just an all-around good guy. Many great things happened in his presence, and we should add the picture where my kid is sitting on Heywood while Heywood is getting tattooed by Pierre, because it is a wonderful moment in life. Pierre, come visit. We would like you to come visit us here in Whitley Bay. It would be fun. Anyways, that was a huge building block onto Heywood's bodysuit. Heywood had his face tattooed by my other friend Darren, design done by Inga, but tattooed by Darren on Heywood's face. Yes, that side. But Heywood wanted to add some life to it, and we were bored in lockdown, and we had bubbled together because I had no other people around in northeast England that I knew, so I manically grasped onto the only other breathing people that I knew, made a bubble with them, and therefore I could keep tattooing every once in a while, so like filling in tiny pieces. So we spent a lot of time drawing Heywood's entire fucking half-head tattoo on, and then one day we tattooed it, which was really fucking cool. And I choose to believe that I've had a lot of impact in like guiding Heywood in good directions with tying, at least from like waist up tattoos, tying them all together and making them into something good and consistent. I recently interjected, stopped him from... Heywood would like a Sanskrit tattoo on his face, but he wanted it on top of the hexagonal tattoos that I've done, and I didn't want to do that. He's got this great artist that I don't remember the name of off the top of my head. We'll put it in here. He's commissioned to do the design, and Heywood wanted me to tattoo it on top of stuff. And I didn't want to do that because I spent so fucking long hand drawing all of these damn hexagonal shapes onto his face. It's one of the most time-consuming tattoos that I've ever done. I don't want to be the one to fuck it up. So I basically told Heywood, if you wanted to do that, I'm cool with it. He just needed someone else to do it because I couldn't bring myself to do it. And then in the end, I think we've agreed that it's just going to go on the other side of his head because there's space and it won't look so busy. And I think it'll look a lot better. And I've recently like done this little patch on his wrist to tie it all in his hand mandala better, which is such a little thing, but it's been annoying me for like 6 months. And I'm looking at his fingers now thinking, they've got to, some shit's got to happen. And that's how my brain works, which is probably fun for Heywood because he gets a lot of tattoos. We also have the entire arm to finish and stuff like that. So many tattoos, so little time in life. It's terrifying. This is the proto video of a series of videos that we're going to do about my clients or canvases and their journey into modifying their bodies and becoming more themselves. That's how I feel about my tattoos. Every time I get tattooed, I feel like I'm becoming more myself. And my gut instinct tells me Heywood feels similarly. So watch the rest of the video, listen to his tale, enjoy his tattoos on his, am I allowed to say dad bod? Yeah. Anyways, enjoy the video, have fun, write comments, go check out the different artists we mentioned and stuff. I'm probably leaving something out, fuck it, we'll do it in post. Thank you!
So, this is the first time I've been on this channel, properly anyway. Yeah, so when I started getting tattooed, I never really anticipated that I was going to even be anywhere near a bodysuit. So not much pre-planning or forethought had gone into it. My first little project that I had put thought into was my left sleeve, the tattoos that Peter mentioned before, where we had our slight altercation. I did get very sensitive against his opinions on it, really just because they were sentimental to me, but I realised the bigger picture of my tattoo journey was kind of, well, aesthetically more important to change things up a little bit. Anyway, Peter's very good at having foresight and being able to see the full picture, probably because he works with bodysuits and has a encyclopedia of art in his head, which is useful in the long run. Anyway, so long story short, we started on this chest, and now we have this arm, which is in progress. I remember one other disagreement which Peter didn't mention was how you see the blast over goes over my initial sleeve, and he said we can cover it with the teal and blue, and I was like, no, I quite like the way that it looks. And I think he said, yeah, but you have shit taste in tattoos, which at the time frustrated me no end. But actually only recently, because that was 3 years ago, only recently I've come to realise that it would look better. Sometimes these things just take a while to kind of navigate and realise. So moving forward, I'm actually really looking forward to having my top half all in unison and as one art piece, as opposed to lots of, as Peter put it, patchwork, blackwork or something, lots of patchy stuff, which is an aesthetic in itself, and I think it's cool. But I do love the way that a full bodysuit can look. It's unique and it's special. It's nice. I think the next tattoo I'll be getting will be across the side here. It will be the Sanskrit that I got commissioned from, well, you've seen his name already, I can't remember off the top of my head. And yeah, I'll keep you posted. You know, I'm the social media guy, innit? I've left a link in the description of my own YouTube. I would love a subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's very different to this channel. Let's get to know each other. Okay. Cheers, Peter, for letting me go on your channel. The first time he's going to watch this is when it's actually going to be on YouTube, so I hope it doesn't offend. It shouldn't do. I fucking love you, man. Cheers.